Hi, welcome back to Jen's Addiction. I am so glad you came back to see me today. And on today's episode, I wanted to talk about something that I have really been kind of thinking about and probably addicted to my whole life, and that is fan clubs. So many of you out there may be members of fan clubs, have been members of fan clubs in the past. I'm sure you all know a little bit about them. This probably isn't going to necessarily blow your mind with super duper facts, but I just thought it would be kind of a fun touch base because when I go around and buy and collect records, as many of you do, I will notice little things on the backs of these records that kind of pique my interest and get me thinking about the bands, the times that those records were released in, and all that kind of stuff. And having been a lifelong fan of many artists myself, I definitely was a teenager, preteen teenager who was totally into the fan experience. I kind of still am, honestly, but it's changed over the years. So I thought it'd be tons of fun to just kind of touch base about fandom. I mentioned a little bit about fan clubs and things in a real previous post I did quite a while back after drummer Clem Burke had passed, the drummer from Blondie. And it just really got me thinking about fans and relationships with artists, which he was kind of notorious, I think, as being like a really fan-friendly kind of musical celebrity. So obviously there's fan clubs of all kinds. I'm just going to focus on music today, just kind of giving a highlight. And then I have a couple of things I just thought I would sort of share and reminisce about that I have in my collection. Again, this might be something else as you get all the records and things that you want in your collection that perhaps would add a little more diversity and interest to your collection. So always trying to think of things and ways to expand my love of music and perhaps yours too. So I'm super happy that you're here with me today and that maybe you'll be willing to kind of stay tuned in and go down this little rabbit hole with me and my addiction around fan clubs recently. So this has sort of been a long time coming episode. I've been going back and forth with it for quite a while, and I thought maybe now is as good a time as any to do it. And actually, there were a couple. I think I'm going to put a link and maybe pop up here a couple of articles that I just saw that were so in London. There is a couple of different new exhibits, museums. I don't know if they're permanent exhibits, but I will again put the links below to the articles so you can look them up, especially if you're in that area. You might really love these as a fan. I thought this was a real fan interest idea. Mick Jones of The Clash is opening a free pop culture museum. So I thought that would be probably really interesting to be able to go see. And the other I read about was a exhibit or museum for David Bowie, which I thought that was incredibly fascinating. And I'd even seen a few other articles pop up lately that I haven't got to read about Victoria and Albert maybe having pieces of David Bowie's musical lyrics or different things. So that I'm not 100% sure of. If you know of any other additional fan fun music exhibits or things to go see, I would love to hear all your comments below. I would love for you to chime in about any fan clubs or things that you were interested in or involved in or members of, or maybe you started on your own. That's super fun. So definitely, chime in. You guys always do such a great job contributing to the conversation. So I love that. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. I would not be where I'm at today without all of you tuning in and supporting me and really helping to keep me going. And so it means an awful lot. And I really, really appreciate you all. So thank you so much. So let's get into some of the fun. I do have some notes. So I will be referring to those. Again, I just sort of want to give an overview and then some examples and some fun fan club pieces at the end. Again, just to kind of give you guys an idea and maybe get you thinking about fan clubs and new ways to collect in your own musical collection. So, why fan clubs? I think the important thing to remember is fan clubs were a real way for people to connect musically. I know when I was a teenager, it really opened up this door for me to be able to talk to other people besides my two best friends. And we were absolutely fanatics for Duran Duran, right? I was a Duranie 1,000 times over, a member of the Duran Duran fan club. But by being in a fan club and reaching out and networking in that way, I met people from all over the country. I think maybe I'd said before, I had around 20 plus pen pals, a couple who were more friends that I kept in contact with more frequently. And so that was super exciting and tons of fun. But it really united people in a whole new way. So fan clubs could just really give you that sense of community, and a touch point also for the bands back in a time before what we see today is social media and the evolution of all of that. You know, musicians didn't always just have an immediate fan base, right? And they didn't always have a giant record company pushing them out to the forefront. So developing a strong fan base, super, super important. I think I have a couple of examples of where that probably was really prevalent and really helpful in a band's career. Kiss Army would probably be the first one that comes to mind. I think that was just an absolute turning point for the band and helped them in probably so many ways. But it also gave the bands a chance to get revenue in a new way, right? So a person would join their fan club. It would give them exclusive content, newsletters, but it also opened up the door to have the band sell their merchandise, right? So concert t-shirts, posters, stickers, buttons, anything like that that could promote the band, kind of push them out to the forefront, but also give the fans something in return. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure back in probably the 20s to the 60s, it may not even been as prevalent as later in the 70s and the 80s, but sometimes just finding a button of your favorite band was really difficult, or a bumper sticker or something. And when you're in high school, you want to put stickers all over everything. So it just seemed like a no-brainer, but that wasn't always an easy thing to achieve or find or do. So those promotional items that they could put in the hands of their fans and get their name and word out there was super, super important. I think the newsletters were really cool. I think they gave bands an opportunity to discuss what they were up to, get anticipation going about all the things that were happening with them in the future, whether it was touring or albums, TV appearances. Maybe some of them were making new videos or movies, or who knows what was going on. But those were, I think, real high points and things that made fan clubs desirable, especially in what I would maybe consider a fan club boom era for music anyway, which anything from the Beatles forward definitely benefited from all of that kind of promotion. So there were also things which I actually have a couple good examples of, like that personal touch from an artist. So you might get a glimpse into them writing, like what did their handwriting look like? Did they draw? A lot of artists and bands seem to contribute things to their fan clubs that showed their artwork, maybe lyrics, thought process besides in certain ways. So I think that was kind of a cool insight into sort of the psyche of your favorite band members. So there are a few facts that I thought were super cool about fan clubs that I really didn't know. But the very first fan clubs really were around the mid-19th century, and they were for opera stars. So people were going to the opera. They loved the musicians. They loved the singers. And one of the first opera singers to have a real fan base was a singer named Jenny Lind. I remember the name. I was just telling my husband, my grandmother had a special bed, and it was named after her. I couldn't have told you who Jenny Lind was, but I knew that name. But she was an opera singer, and in the 1800s, she had a great following, and her manager was savvy enough to put her name and, I suppose, likeness on soaps, and I think it was, maybe hats. Yeah, hats and soaps with her name and likeness on it. So they were really marketing those things kind of front and center. And then after that, I think it was 1899 where the word fan really kind of came into its own, but that was related into baseball. And I think it was the rabid fandom of the Kansas City baseball team kind of, they sort of made that word fan a household word and a way to describe fans who were super excited about, a movie star, a musician, an opera singer, a baseball team. So that was sort of a first to kind of be prevalent, and then of course carry forward into what we know today. And such a common word, like I can't even imagine a time where you didn't have that word front and center, right? Like that would be crazy. Like word fandom is just everywhere. But then by the 1920s to 1930s, of course, film stars had a ton of fan clubs, and you might even see signed photographs. They show up at antique malls, flea markets, estate sales, where somebody had sent in a letter, and then the star usually signed something and sent it back. So I thought that was always a neat thing about that era, even up through the 40s and sometimes probably even into the 50s. Stars were so much more, I don't know if it was expected of them to do those things, but I mean, how crazy, like I can't imagine somebody just doing that today as part of being who they are, or a record company or a film company just kind of making you sign stuff and you'd be like, yeah, sure. I mean, there are those out there who do, and that's awesome, but it just seems so crazy to me. So, some of the earliest, I thought this was really fascinating. I mean, I know Shirley Temple was a movie star, but she did sing and dance, and she has a Spotify link, and she still has a fan club page. So you can go to shirleytemple.com, I believe. Shirley Temple had over 4 million fan club members. I mean, think about that in the 30s, at a time when it wasn't easy to just flip on a computer and type in your favorite artist and find out information about them. You really had to be dedicated and motivated to want to seek out and be a member of a fan club back then. And to think that Shirley Temple had over 4 million members is just like insane to me. Some of the others of note that I love, the longest running fan club is the Bing Crosby fan club. That is called, it's Bing Crosby. It's the International Club Crosby. And that one started in 1936. It is still running. They are still online. I don't know if they send out as many newsletters or things now. It may be all online, but I thought that was absolutely crazy and such a dedication to him as an artist and his work that people still want to make sure that he is being promoted and loved. So that's super cool. Sinatra, you can go to sinatra.com. You can see all sorts of things about Frank, about his catalog, his music, his movies. They'll have older news stories, his kind of history. And on a lot of these websites, you'll see Spotify links, Facebook links, any other kind of social media links. So I think that's really cool. Even Elvis Presley still obviously has a ton of fans. So on Elvis's site, you will see kind of news, which can talk about anything from re-releases of his songs to information about Graceland and tours, limited edition music. It'll have sections about his films and a lot more. And you can really delve into all kinds of information about Elvis. And of course, all of these sites also have shops or storefronts. So you can buy their records. You could probably buy other merch. I didn't investigate everything, but I'm sure records, TV, like probably books on TV appearances, or like discographies, posters, t-shirts, you name it. They're probably all there. But one of the more famous fan clubs, of course, was the one for the Beatles. Now they still have an online Beatles.com, which is, I'm sure, ran by whoever is in charge of running things for the Beatles these days. But their fan club was so unique, and that they always sent out, Christmas albums, special releases just for fans, newsletters. So that was kind of a trailblazing, amazing setup. And I think it really set the stage and the bar for fan clubs of all kinds, even though there were obviously some before the Beatles. I think they really sort of took it to the next level, and people just, of course, were crazy about all of that. And then that would sort of lead us into what I always sort of think is like the king of fan clubs, which is KISS and the KISS Army. So in 1975, in Terre Haute, Indiana, no less, two guys, it was Bill Starkey and Jay Evans, were fans of KISS. And if any of you are familiar, obviously, when you look at records, it'll say Terre Haute pressing, or there'll be Indiana pressings, or like Columbia House. Terre Haute is where they housed a lot of Columbia House records and would ship those out. I think his father worked for Columbia House, helped kind of get his hands on some records, and had made some comments to his son, I guess, about maybe some of the Kiss records not selling as well. And by then they were about 2-3 albums in. Nobody was playing their songs on the radio, and they thought they would take it into their own hands, and they called themselves the Kiss Army because they thought that was sort of like a really powerful statement, and started calling radio stations and saying the Kiss Army is not going to stand for you not playing these records and supporting this band. And I think radio stations thought they were some big like army of fans, and then started wanting to play them, but they didn't even have any records. I think they contacted Starkey and said, do you have something for us to play? Because we don't have anything yet. So it was just kind of crazy. The band really kind of took to it, were really receptive to it, really kind of took Bill in and supported them. I think, though, unfortunately, they led him to believe he was going to run that fan club, and that didn't happen. But it's still, the Kiss Army is still going strong. It was $5 to join the Kiss Army. Can you believe that? And I can't remember if it, which album that was. I think it might have been Destroyer, where they really started publicizing the Kiss Army. There was like a brochure within the album, so you could fill it out and send it in and become a member. It was like, we want you in the Kiss Army, and that famous sort of badge with all 4 of their faces that made that army kind of pin. But man, for $5, there's a poster of them, sort of like that, very, with their headbands on and their drums, sort of like Revolutionary War style army photo. And I mean, just all of the things that you got as a Kiss fan. I think they even used to do a t-shirt every year, which they don't do anymore, I don't believe. If any of you were in part of the Kiss Army, I think my cousin was. I remember a lot of that ephemera that came out, and the poster on his wall. And and now when I really think about it, for $5, like, to get started, and I don't know, every year, I'm sure the price went up, but that's like crazy. Like, I mean, I'm sure $5 to a kid or a teenager back in the 70s was a lot, but I mean, I can't even imagine. I mean, how super cool I think that was to have all of that. And if you were a Kiss fan, how awesome that would be. So again, I'm sure some of you have that. I would love to hear your stories about your fan club experiences, especially if you were members of Kiss Army or anything different that you were also kind of a part of. Like I said, I was a Duran Duran fan. We were Duranis, so that was always kind of a fun thing. And even to this day, when somebody sees me or knows me, knows I was a Duran Duran fan, I'm kind of referred to as a Duranie. So that's nothing new for me. I'm sure some of you have that same experience. So that was like 60s, 70s, 80s, right? So by the 1990s, we start moving away from the mail-in fan club template. And here comes the internet. And it's a whole new way for companies to reach their fans. So I think you really just see like websites pop up, bands have their own sites, emails instead of newsletters slowly became sort of the way to go to keep fans motivated and interested and let them know, especially if they were on tour or what was going on or new releases. And by the 2000s, you have full-blown Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, and they really just kind of made the mail-in obsolete. You joined through the internet. Sometimes maybe you printed something from a website and sent it in. But, as we all know today, the internet just changed all that mail-in, which is kind of a shame because I kind of liked that process. Maybe that's me, my generation being a little nostalgic, for sure. But it really gave them a broader way, probably more economically, to sell their merchandise, to notify about concerts and exclusivity and all those types of things. So, that was kind of the way that we moved forward. And then even today, I think fan clubs don't offer the same perks that they used to. You don't get your little membership card. You don't always get like the t-shirts or but they're really sort of seen as a vehicle to promote the band, to give news about the band. And really I think it's about getting advance notice for music sales, at least now in the vinyl community. As you know, that exclusive record that you can't get any other way, and advance notice for concert tickets and different appearances that might be happening. So that's something I've definitely benefited from myself. And then there's some different ways that you can connect in a more traditional fan base besides your own website. If you're a smaller artist, an indie artist, Patreon is not just about crafters. Patreon is a great way to people can sign in obviously and be members of your Patreon for free. They could have different tiers of membership level, which would allow them access to maybe music that you don't want to put out any other way, or concert tickets or discounts off merchandise, those types of things. So Patreon is really a way to kind of have that modern subscription fan club experience. Top Fan is another fan club driven website that helps bands and managers to develop fan clubs that put the control back into the hands of the band. So you're controlling that cost if you want one or not for a fan club membership. They're in both, actually, Patreon, Top Fan, and several others, even probably their own websites. You're going to get articles, playlists, exclusive videos. They will post photo galleries, fan club subscriptions. They'll do extensive and exclusive content, pre-selling of tickets and merchandise, and live streams, which is so cool. I mentioned a while back, I got a record from Kate Pearson of the B-52s. It was her newest release. She did a live stream, and because I follow her on Instagram and I'm a fan, I got to know about this live stream in enough advance time that she was selling albums with autographed photos in them. So that's kind of a great example of how people will use that social media to promote themselves or merchandise and their bands. TikTok fan clubs are kind of all the rage, I guess, too. And then there's something else called Fan Hub, or I think, and that is more of like putting fans in touch with each other one-on-one, which was kind of cool. I'll put some links to some other sites below. Some of my fan club information I was able to get from, let me see here, I thought I had the name of it written down. Oh, it was another fan site. It's called With the Band. So I will, of course, link all these things below so you guys can all kind of see it. Maybe you're interested in sort of expanding your fandom in a whole new way. So I thought that would be kind of a fun way to include new things. So what really got me down this rabbit hole, besides my own collection, is I notice a lot when I am buying records that there would always be something written on the back. And these were ways for people to communicate, probably to book bands in a lot of ways, but also there's fan club information. So I thought I would share a few. If you have any records at home that you've noticed this on, or maybe when you're going through your collection or replaying, look for this stuff, like all those little hidden treasures. Sometimes I have to have my reading glasses on to see them, but I thought they would be kind of fun. So I'll try to get some close-up pictures and show. But this one is, okay, so this is the first album by The Damned. This was the, I forget which release this is now. This was actually printed in Italy. This was an Italian release. But on the back of it, it says The Damned are advanced Dale artists. It gives a London address, Damned Disciples Songbook, and recording details available for £1. And it gives a Stiff Records address. So that is kind of right here on the bottom. Hopefully you can see that. If not, I'll try to take some screenshots. But I thought that was kind of cool. Could you imagine like sending away for $1? Does anybody have any of those? If you have something like that, I would love to know what those look like. I think that would be really cool. I have not seen one online, but that does not mean it's not available. So I would love to see that. Another example of a management one too is, so this is my original copy of Flock of Seagulls from 1982. It says management, Check Mountain Limited P.O. Box, and it's from Middlesex, England. So that is on the back of the record. I know it doesn't say official fan club, but I'm sure as a kid, if I was looking for ways to connect with a band and I saw that address on the back of this record, I would be all over sending something in and being like, oh my God, can they send something to me? Can you write something to me? Like, I'd be super excited. And I'm sure there were times I did some of that stuff. This one I thought was fun. I was just kind of flipping through records to see what I could just kind of find. Here's fan club and merchandise information and booking information. This is on the back of Rat, Out of the Cellar. This is my original copy from 1984. There's also the booking agency listed and their personal management name. And that's all down here in the bottom section of this record. And I thought that was just fantastic. Wham! Here is their first album, Fantastic. Fantastic. And of course, this was a 1983 release. On the very back, it's Wham Fan Club. This is a Los Angeles address. I'm not sure if any of you have maybe Wham fan clubs or information from England, perhaps, but that's a U.S. Los Angeles address. I found one on the back of this 12-inch single for Bananarama's Venus. On the very back, it says fan club information to Anne at 40 Weymouth Street in London. And that's way down here on the bottom. Again, if we can't get it on the camera, I will try to post pictures of those. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff I will see all the time. And I love it. Like, I love it. It is so cool. I just think it's super cool. Another one, and I remember getting this one. I'm sure a lot of you do too. So this is my original copy of Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. So when you pulled it out, there were two different sleeves that you could, that you would get, like the colored sleeves. But on this one, this was a mail order, mail in, and that's when everybody was getting all of their, relax, Frankie Say Relax. You'd have to pop that out of the center to mail that in. But it just gave all sorts of like badges and tattoos and wall hangings. And I mean, my gosh, and you just put like a credit card, you wrote out your credit card information and you just sent it in. Like, okay, like who would do that today? Nobody. Not very many people are going to do that today. But I love that. And I was so worried that I was going to ruin that. Like, I remember not wanting to take the record in and out. I was just like, I needed to keep it pristine. I think if I'd ever wanted to do that, I would have photocopied it and then mailed it in. And I don't know if they would have accepted that, but they probably want my money. They'd do it anyway, right? The last one I wanted to highlight with a record, I think I just showed the other day when I highlighted my Cramps collection. So this was the promotional copy of Psychedelic Jungle. And again, this was sort of like any kind of Cramps fan club information. You could send a self-addressed stamped envelope to the address down here. The photos and buttons were $1. I think the shirts were like $7. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's so cool. Like, I just think that's so awesome. Like, I love that so much. Just a little bit of music history that I really love. So the other pieces that I wanted to showcase, I think I may have mentioned this before too. We are big Sparks fans here. We're getting ready to go see Sparks here in a few days, actually. And one thing we did was join the fan club. Why? Because you get advance notice on tickets and you can buy tickets to their concerts a couple days ahead of time from the general public, which for us, I love that. I love that perk. But they sent, you become an official member. They will send you an official letter. They send you an autographed photo. And then they also send you this fan club lanyard. It's two-sided. Your membership number is on the back of this. So it's kind of yours. I suppose if you went anywhere, you could wear it proudly. But once you register with your number, then I could take any Sparks merch I have or non-Spark, whatever. And as long as I pay the postage to get it to them and pay the postage to have it returned to me, they will sign it for you. I think that is absolutely amazing. I don't know many other fan clubs that do that kind of thing. Obviously, we log into the website. I can't remember if we get any additional discounts on any merchandise, but I thought that was just the nicest fan club perk. I mean, how awesome. Those guys are amazing. Like, I just love them so much, the Mail Brothers. I mean, hello, thank you. That's such a great thing. And I mean, I think that's really, really amazing. So the last one I want to show, as you guys all know, I'm a Blondie fan. In case you don't know, Blondie and Debbie Harry, kind of my jam. So my husband was super kind, And knowing my obsession a while back I bought some fan club bits and pieces, in part because it correlated with my cuckoo collection, because there were Blondie fan club pieces that highlighted her album for Cuckoo. And there is a couple of websites out there I will link below. This all came from a man who runs it's the official Blondie website. It's called blondie.net. He's an archivist of Blondie. And this all came from he sells on eBay. And then there's another blondie.com or Blondie fan. I'll put it all below. But that website that I will highlight too, it will show you all of the fan club information. It will show you all of the past newsletters that were put out, buttons, bookmarks, you name it. Also, new information. So I was able to order a special 12-inch single through that link. And I learned about a new comic book day cover to a Blondie comic book that was put out by Amanda Connor. It was the cover artist of that originally. So those were just things that, because I was on that fan site, I got a little more information about. It's kind of like a great way to just find out everything you want to know about one artist. In this case, it's Blondie. So I wanted to walk through this fan club pack. So it was a whole package of stuff. I love, some of these are duplicates. I got 2 buttons. This is the I am a Blondie fan. So when you join the fan club, this was one of the things they would send their fans. So that's the I am a Blondie fan. They also have a couple of stickers. This is the one for BFC, obviously Blondie Fan Club. That's the address. They probably want you to stick that different places so you could advertise the fan club and get more people interested. Some of my favorite parts, especially when I was a little kid, and I got a couple of these, it's your official card, right? You can put that in your wallet, and then you are truly an official Blondie fan. So I thought that was, I want to be an official Blondie fan. So I need that in my wallet. And I have a few bookmarks. These are all official Blondie fan club bookmarks because, why not? So those were things they would send with your memberships. Blondie's fan club had a international fan club, a stateside fan club, and a European, British, I think, fan club. So they would send autographed photos. So there is Nigel. And on the back of each of these, it would give stats about the band member. So there's Debbie. It would tell you all kinds of things. And well, you can't see this one as well. Her autograph is on there. It's not real. It's copied. When I first ever got this one, I thought, oh my God, Nigel actually signed that, but he didn't, But on the back, I thought these were great. It's like her favorite food, melon, nuts, fruit, salad, and vegetables. It gives where she was born, what her favorite climate was. Apparently, she likes it 75 to 90 degrees. Her favorite sports, swimming, tennis, driving, skating, and bicycling. So it kind of goes through all these. Her favorite planet. What do you think her favorite planet is? Earth. Yeah. So there you go. So there's that one. Here's one for Frank Infantino. Again, they asked him what his favorite group at the moment was, and he says Blondie. So there's that. The wonderful Clem Burke. And then this is, let's see, we've got Chris Stein and Jimmy Destry on that one. So I just thought those were so fun. So I've got a few of those that came. This was like a big set. It had all these things kind of together in one giant set. And that was, I thought, just super awesome. Another big Blondie bumper sticker you could get for being a member of the club with the chrysalis butterfly on there. And then there's lots of photos. So you get your kind of band photo. These seem like that standard kind of photo you'll see show up again at probably thrift shops, people's collections. Back in the day, you could probably take this with you and hope they'd come out the back door somewhere and sign your stuff. I have a lot of that photo. The next one I have to share is, I just love that picture of Debbie. So we've got that. And then that was on that one. And then we kind of go to a few other smaller items. So they would send a card to you. This was a postcard, which has the address to the Blondie fan club on the back. It's got them on the front, kind of like the return address. And I don't know if this was just stuff that they would send. It says, we want all of you to know how much we appreciate the mail that you've sent to us, and it really makes us feel good. So that's kind of the reply. So they have, these are the two cards that were together. So this one's blank. Whoops. And then this one has all that sort of written on the back. So membership to the official Blondie fan club is $4 in the US and $5 outside of the US, and we'll include an 8x10 black and white glossy. Photographs are available to you, t-shirts, posters, badges, and all that kind of stuff. So please allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery. So this all information, maybe you sent away and you wanted information about how to join or something, and they would send it to you. I'm not really sure how that worked, but that's my guess. And then you get the card for your wallet, but also you want to post that, right? Because you want everybody to know that you're official, that you're not messing around, that you're a Blondie fan. So I thought that was cool. And then you get into the newsletters. These are the International Fan Club newsletter. I think I haven't highlighted this one yet. It's kind of also, I have another copy. It's in my Cuckoo collection. It talks about how they finished doing Auto American and that Cuckoo was coming out and what she had been working on. You know, artwork by Chris Stein is in here. They all try to contribute some type of a letter or something. I love that these are like the old typewriter written up. You know, they have to kind of cut and paste and make these into actual newsletters. This is another international edition, #1. It's got Debbie on the back. And then again, you've just got like all these different kind of handwritten letters from members of the band. Some of their management, some of their fan club stats. You know, they had prizes and contests. You could send in your photos of your Blondie collection or why you were the best fan. And I think they had a couple, like one contest I was reading about in here. I think they did like 5 exclusive records or something that somebody could win. I mean, if any of you have seen any of those types of memorabilia or things out there, especially the Blondie records, I would love to know about it. I mean, to think that there's things like that out there, I just think that's super cool. I mean, super, super cool. The official, I think these were the American newsletter, the bigger newsletters. So there's another big official newsletter. This one is kind of packed a little bit more space to put a lot more stuff in. Again, I've got several copies of each of these, but there's just different kind of articles, information. So that's one. The next one we've got there. And on the back is how you can order a lot of some of the things that I showed you. So that's your gateway into ordering that official Blondie merchandise. And I think this was a British fan club. So that is a really nice big book. I love this one a lot. Full color, I think, throughout. Just some amazing pictures, which I just think were super cool. Again, if you get on any of these websites, they showcase some of this stuff. And I think they even have some archival information where you can read the articles and see it all. A lot of this stuff is up for sale. I originally bought the smaller version of the International Edition #3. I think it was under $10 when I originally bought it. So you didn't have to buy it as a set necessarily to get it. But this is like kind of my pride and joy. Once I sort through, I want to get this all sorted through and be able to display some of it or just have it in a way that's easily accessible. The last thing I wanted to show and just kind of share, because I bet some of you have these same kind of stories, maybe for whatever you were fans of at the time. Like I said, I was a big Duran Duran fan. So this one is an official button. I probably got it at the Spencer's or something. I made that one, so made like my own buttons. Buttons were something you could just get like a lot of, right? Like I have a box that is just, this is part of my button collection. I have more up top, my Duran Duran buttons. But when you join the Duran Duran fan club, and I'll post a picture of it complete because my Nick Rhodes button is up there, you got this postcard. And all of these little buttons of each of the members came with your card. So, like I said, Nick was my favorite member. So I've got his button up there in my case. There's Simon. This was just a new moon on Monday kind of symbol. And then there's Roger. So those all came on that card. It was part of being a member of the Duran Duran fan club. I do not know where my membership card is. Of all the things I would lose, but I tell you, like, my girlfriends and I were crazy. And this is just, oh gosh, I had these sitting aside. So I've got this album, and oh my gosh, this is really heavy, you guys. What was I thinking? And this album still, these were all my scrapbooks for Duran Duran. So as a fan, like, if it was in an article, magazine, like, I cut it out, I saved it. Anything that they would send, I always love that kind of art cover, comic cover, but anything about them. Actually, when I went to see them, with the Power Station, you probably can't see that. It's John Taylor's autograph. I got to go see, obviously, I think I've talked about Power Station before. I had some very special photos that came to me that actually, I think, came from one of their cameras from some kind of photo mart thing. I'll be a good fan and not show them. Here we are meeting John. There's John outside the hotel. I mean, I've got my time in Cincinnati from the concert. So just all sorts of stuff. Anything that I kept everything, anything and everything that I could think of. So I've kept all my scrapbooks from all of that time period. I kind of look back on them now. It's so funny and kind of silly in a lot of ways, but I really love them. And they meant a lot to me. And I'm sure you guys have some of the exact same experiences and things out there that you can relate to. So again, I'd love to hear in the comments below your favorite fan club experiences. Did you ever get to do like a special meet and greet through a fan club? Did you get access to something that nobody else has ever been able to see or have? I think that's just so cool. And this just, to me, takes music and collecting kind of to like the next level. And it's just a ton of fun. Like I said, my autographed copy of Debbie Harry's book came through their personal website. So it's just, I don't know, it's a lot of fun. I hope you guys have maybe enjoyed a little bit of backstory and brief history about fan clubs. Maybe it's got you thinking about what it means to be a fan. And it just, again, I just think it's just a ton of fun. It's something I really enjoy and love. It's another great way to collect something that's not as expensive, maybe even as some of the records that you want, when you have a full collection of what you already have. But I also would encourage you to look on the back of your vinyl, check it out, see what's back there, and, you know, kind of take advantage of those great little tidbits of information. I just find all of that just super fascinating. So until next time, I hope you guys are spinning some great tunes. I hope you are expressing yourself as fans in whatever way is the most fun and exciting for you. But most of all, just keep listening and enjoying amazing music. And please come back to see me next time. Thanks, everybody.